Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to the show. This Civil Point, I am your host, none other than Ariana Dieva, and we are back talking about the world and the state of the United States and how chaotic it continues to get and how insane and unfathomable that the world continues to just be. I mean, every day we wake up and it's something new that Cheeto is doing, and he's forcing troops into states that are democratic cities and causing chaos. It's just insane. Insane every time we wake up nowadays. It's just like, what's new? What's bad that's gonna happen? But yeah, so we are back. I feel like my mic is a little bit low, so I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Yeah. So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. If you guys haven't already, you guys can go ahead and hit that subscribe button. This is The Civil Point. I'm your host, Ariana Dieva. We come on almost every night to talk about the happenings of the world and give our unfiltered, resonating opinion with the rest of the world in the galvanized thought of what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is going on? What dimension did we branch off into? Because I don't want to be in this dimension. But yeah, so if you guys haven't already, you guys can go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and we're gonna get started today. We have so much to talk about that's been going on. And honestly, before we get started, I did want to sit here and say that I have released my own pod doc series. I'm calling it pod doc because it was a podcast / documentary style series. And I produced it, I just edited it, I did everything regarding it. And I did my research, I did the timeline, I did the events, I did everything. So if you guys could, I would love it if you guys could go check out my pod doc. It's called This Is How Trump Stole America. And I think it's not gonna be a regular series on my channel, not the Trump Stole America thing. We don't need to talk about him. Oh, censorship. I can't even say his name or else my videos get like suppressed. So Cheeto, have to remember that. Cheeto. We talk about how he really rose to power in the United States through a lot of different aspects of just cult-like activities. So if you guys have it, I'm going to go ahead and play the trailer. So if you guys want to watch, here it is. What if everything you thought you knew about power about leadership,
we will make America great again,
about democracy was a lie?
I hate my opponent, and I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry.
What if the man promising to make America great again was both, by the way, reshaping the country? I ate up that outfit. It's giving Madam President. Ate up that outfit. Not like President of the United States, but like and the President in a show. Loyalty on day one. From secret deals to weaponizing propaganda.
You are fake news.
From threats to states to silencing the media.
Kimmel has no talent. They're next. They're going to be going.
The questions are staggering, and the answers even more shocking. Who really benefits when democracy fails? And who pays the price when facts no longer matter? The truth and the call isn't coming from the headlines. It's coming from inside the White House. This is how Trump stole America. So I really suggest and highly suggest if you guys can go ahead and check out that series. It's a 5-part series. It basically incorporates the timeline of Trump's rise to power and how he used loyalty as well as cult-like abilities as well as weaponized Christianity to gain access to the White House, to gain access to now a second term. I think I did a really good job of explaining how he used and weaponized a religion to create a base, and that base into a cult, and that cult into not only a national phenomenon in regards to his presidency, but something that has not been seen in the United States from a president. And I align how his rise to power, then again, is similar to Smotchyville, you know. I have to sugarcoat my words here. Got a code. But I definitely do show the similarities between him and Adolphe. And I think I did a really good job of explaining it. So if you guys could, definitely go check that out. I watched it myself. I thought it was really good, but then again, I did it myself, so of course I thought it was good. But let's go ahead and continue on into today's topics. We have Beyonce versus Taylor Swift, Swifties versus Beehive. I'm not really going to get into this. I really don't give two craps about this. You have Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj, and it's just like, there's so much going on in this world that why are we taking up fan bases and fighting for white women who have literally mediocre talent and is a billionaire because of that mediocre talent? I'm not even going to touch the topics of these online beefs, because it's just like, girl, people are being killed in Gaza, and there's apparently a peace deal, but where's that peace deal right now? Anyway, let's talk about something even more important, is none other than some Epstein Files updates. It's not really an update on Epstein. It's more so an update on the infamous Ghislaine Maxwell. So it's true. The Supreme Court declined Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal. So basically, she's in prison for sex trafficking. She's in prison for being around and engaged and complicit in the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein. Ghislaine went to prison. Jeffrey went to prison. Jeffrey, of course, and a lot of people don't think it was a self-unaliving, obviously. A lot of people do think this was a premeditated attack and homicide on a man who had a lot of dirt on a lot of high-ranking people. So and then Ghislaine went, and now she went from a high security prison to a low security prison. And I don't think, I think Cheeto thinks we're stupid. I think Cheeto honestly thinks the population that voted for him is stupid, obviously. But I honestly think Cheeto thinks that we're stupid, that we're not going to see the lines and match up the timelines here. So Ghislaine was transferred from a high security prison to a low security prison right after Trump's, not the DOJ, someone in Trump's camp met with Ghislaine. So Ghislaine can say, well, she never saw Trump do anything inappropriate or criminal-like with Jeffrey Epstein. I keep saying the T word. It has to be Cheeto, or else my stuff will get suppressed. But Cheeto sent his cronies over, said, get Ghislaine to say I had nothing to do with it, and we'll get her into a low-security prison. Good. Happened. Now she's in a low-security prison. Now, apparently, she is asking for a pardon, which we already knew was coming. But not only is she asking for a pardon, but the Supreme Court now denies Ghislaine a pardon for her crimes. I mean, she was convicted of sexual assault charges and, trafficking. Why would anyone think that a court would pardon this woman? Or at least even accept to review a case that was closed with factual evidence that led to her conviction. Why would a court then review your case? Why would they accept your appeal? If there was merit to it, obviously, I think it should happen, that an appeal should be made and the court should hear the appeal and render a new decision. But there is no merit to this at all. There's zero merit to her claims for an appeal. Her claims are probably just resembling the fact that Trump brought her down to a low security prison, and now she's thinking, all right, cool, maybe let me try and appeal. And if I appeal, because the Supreme Court is in Trump's pocket, they'll just, let me go. And that's not how that works, Ghislaine. That's not how it works. But Ghislaine has other pathways to get out of prison, and that includes Donald Trump. So we're going to go ahead and play this clip because it's shocking what Donald Trump said in regards to Ghislaine. And we're going to go ahead and play this right now.
Say it.
The Supreme Court is back in session. Yeah. They rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance at getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're open to?
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
I haven't heard the name in so long.
This man is lying through his teeth. I don't know how you guys put up with this. I don't know how his base puts up with this. And I'm sorry to pause it real quick right here, but this man is lying through his teeth. That man is lying through that Cheeto skin. That dusty skin is being lied through. And I don't understand how people don't see his lies in what he's exactly saying. The fact that he wanted to sit here and say, well, I haven't heard that name. Lies, you haven't heard that name in a bit. That name has been circulating around the hallways of the White House for literally 190 days, or however long you've been in office since you took inauguration on January 20th. What are you talking about? You have not heard the name Ghislaine Maxwell. Cheeto, why are we sitting here? Well, we know he just is a liar. But it's ridiculous that he's literally lying through his teeth saying, well, I haven't heard the name in a while, so we'll see.
I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ.
What do you mean you'll take a look at it? Can someone explain the insanity this is to me? What do you mean, Trump, that you're going to take a look at her appeal to the Supreme Court? You're going to take a look at an appeal from a literal sex trafficker that hurt minor children and sex trafficked minor children. What is there to take a look at? Oh, right. I know exactly what there is to take a look at. She's your friend. So you need to give her a little bit of a pass and a pardon. Not only a pardon, but set her free, but because she probably has a lot of dirt on you. Hence why you set your cronies to that maximum security prison and then got her released into a lower minimum security prison. Oh, are we not supposed to talk about the timeline here? Are we not supposed to talk about what's really happening? The fact that he is sitting here, the president of the United States, Cheeto Bendito, is sitting here saying, I will have to take a look at the case of Ghislaine Maxwell and her appeal. And if that does not work, well, I'll have to talk to the DOJ and give her a pardon.
Wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
Look at all these people. This is what makes me so annoyed. This is what makes me so disoriented in life. Because you see the swamp of gross people around him, right? They're all asking him for favors and pardons to get out of prison for crimes they've been convicted of. And yet, the general public of his base does not see that he is one of the grotesque figures that is aiding and filling the swamp with these nasty people. Birds of a feather flock together type thing. If one of them is a gross, disgusting sex trafficker, odds is, with pictures of Ghislaine Maxwell and Cheeto Bendito, I mean, odds are, like I said, birds of a feather flock together. And the fact that he had to sit here and lie and be like, well, I know nothing about the case. Bullshit. You know everything about the case because your name is mentioned in those Epstein files that you will not release to the public. What do you mean, I don't know much about it? This is not the first time he lies about not knowing about something and then later on comes up with, oh, well, you know, I support it. We'll get into that real quick in a little bit. But it's just frustrating to see someone who is sitting in such a high power of office completely degrade the office of the presidential seal and the Oval Office and continuously lie and lie and lie to the public. There is no way that anyone believes him when he says he knows nothing about the Ghislaine Maxwell appeal. There's no way he doesn't know anything about it because he sent his cronies to interview her about himself to acquit himself of any wrongdoing and any mentioning of him doing any wrongdoing. And then she got released to a minimum security prison. So don't sit here and say you don't know anything about Ghislaine. You know everything about Ghislaine. You sit in the highest power of the United States. You have access to virtually anything in the United States, and you're going to sit here and say you know nothing about Ghislaine and her case and her appeal or Epstein files? You know nothing about it? Get the F out of here. The lies are ridiculous, and they're starting to piss me off because what the hell? So speaking of lies that Donald Trump is doing, I wanted to also turn face to another lie in regards to just insanity that he continues to promote through his brand of President of the United States. And Cheeto continuously gets caught in these lies. It's like we need a lie detector test on him at all times when he's giving presidential addresses, because at this point someone needs to call it out in real time and say, this is what's happening and you are being a liar. So another lie that Trump is sitting here and spouting out is Ghislaine. He knows nothing about it, but he's literally best friends with her. Was it her husband or boyfriend? It was her boyfriend. And they engaged in these alleged activities with Cheeto. And another lie he's telling now is that he knew nothing about Project 2025, right? He's said that quite frankly, quite often. And I have proof. You know what's so funny, though, is that the proof that I am going to provide to you is that this clip has been mysteriously taken off of the internet. Thank God I found it for my pod doc series, This Is How Trump Stole America, but now I can't find it on YouTube again. So thank God it's in my pod doc series so I can reference it. But this is Donald Trump talking about Project 2025. Get ready. At Heritage Foundation Summit.
They come up with this, I don't know what the hell it is, it's Project 25. He's involved in Project, and then they read some of the things and they are extreme. I mean, they're seriously extreme.
So he sat here and said about Project 2025. He sat here and said, Cheeto said, he read through it, and what he read through is extreme. He knows nothing about it. He's not associated with it, wants nothing to do with it because what he read through is extreme. But now we fast forward to literally days ago where he's saying that he's meeting with Russ Vought, of Project 2025 fame, to determine which of the many Democrat agencies, most of which are a political scam, he recommends to be cut, and whether or not those cuts will be temporary or permanent. Now, in regards to this man, in regards to Russ Vought, he is, I just want to get his title right, Director of the United States Office of Management and Budget. Not only is he that currently, but he is one of the writers and influencers of Project 2025. So you want to continue and sit here and lie, Trump, in regards to your dealings with Project 2025 when we knew from the start, and we've been saying it from the start. Kamala Harris has been sitting here saying this is what is going to happen if Trump gets into office. Project 2025 will be affiliated with him and will be implemented because his donors support Project 2025. Not only does his donors, but the people who are looking to take over the United States and make it a white nationalist country once again, this is the goal. This is the trajectory, and this is the outcome. You guys need to wake up to this. And not only Kamala has warned the public, but everyone has warned the public about Project 2025, and everyone's like, no, that's so extreme. Trump even said, no, that's so extreme. And now look at this. He's conducting interviews and a meeting with Russ Vought, who is of Project 2025, to determine of not just entire federal government agencies, but specifically Democrat agencies that he deems a political scam to then remove and be cut. And now, in Project 2025, this man, Russ Vought, who is the director of United States Office Management and Budget, and the president of the United States, Donald Trump, according to Project 2025, they would have the authority in the ongoing months in regards to implementing Project 2025 to deem and determine what needs to be cut in the United States and what needs to be added in the United States to protect Project 2025's end goal. And now look at where we are. We're back to Project 2025, and their plan is, I don't even want to say slowly taking shape, but very, very vastly taking shape when it comes to our federal government and its control over our states. So once again, Trump caught in lies, Cheeto caught in another lie about Ghislaine Maxwell and not knowing anything about her when he's pictured with her and Jeffrey Epstein. And then another lie, he's saying years ago he knew nothing about Project 2025, but why then would you input someone into Director of Management and Budget, one of the key offices in our federal government, to determine cuts and additions in regards to programs and assistance? Why would you then put someone from Project 2025 in that position if you knew nothing about them? Oh, right, because he knew everything about them. This was all the original plan. Let's deny it because it's extreme, but then once we're in office, let's implement it and call out the lie. We don't care about it anymore. It's all about getting the power and getting into office. So it's very crazy when you think about it. Everything is insane. And speaking of Epstein, someone who is sitting here calling out, I never thought I would ever agree with someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Sorry, I have hair getting caught in my lip gloss. I never thought I would ever agree with someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, ever. Who in their right mind would say, I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene? Not me. I never thought I would. But apparently I find myself agreeing with her a lot more. So, not a lot more, just on this one little thing. And the one little issue is the Epstein files and the release of those files. And we're going to play a clip here because she's now being attacked from her own constituents on the right side of the aisle and calling her crazy for actually wanting accountability and the release and the transparency of the Epstein files. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Where is this volume?
But it's definitely Israel. One of the members of the U.S. government most slavishly loyal to Israel is Senator Ted Cruz. When you laid out positions like you've just laid out on the show, he called you crazy, which just strikes me as a way to avoid substantive discussion about what's going on. Why do you think people like Senator Cruz are so focused on the U.S.-Israel relationship as things are challenging in our country?
You know, I wish I had $1 for every comment under his post that said, "She never said Jews." Why would you say that? I mean, that was literally comment after comment after comment. And I didn't say Jews. I didn't say anything about Jewish people. What I talked about is basically fearing for my life because I'm demanding all the files be released, the Epstein files be released. So I'm not really sure why Canadian-born Texas Senator Ted Cruz would attack me that way and would literally say something so utterly foolish. He basically outed himself and he told everyone which country he cares about most. And he's done that a lot lately. He's definitely expressed over and over again the country he loves the most. It's not Canada, the one he was born in. It's not the United States, the one that he serves as a senator. But it's definitely.
I love how she called this man out. I never agree with this woman. I think she's batshit crazy. But in regards to this clip, as well as the whole Epstein release of the files, I do agree with her. I do agree with her. The fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene sat here and not only called out Ted Cruz for being an immigrant, she did that very decisively, and she called that out for a reason, because our country is currently deporting immigrants, and Ted Cruz is a Canadian immigrant who serves in office in Texas. She's like, well, let's talk about immigrants. You're an immigrant. And then she called out his alliance and allegiance to Israel. And I have to be careful about that too. Izzy, we're going to call them Izzy from now on. But talked about the undying loyalty, allegiance, and pledge to Izzy. And I just found it hilarious that she's like, they're eating each other's. It's like the wolf. I didn't think the wolf would eat my face type thing. And she's sitting here like, oh, this is how you guys are playing? Let's play a little bit dirty too, since, you want to call me crazy for demanding accountability for sex traffickers and PDFs. Like, let's call a spade here, and let's talk about how you're an immigrant, Ted Cruz. Let's talk about how we're deporting immigrants. Should we deport you? That's the underlying tone of her comment in regards to her saying he's an immigrant. But also, I just want to point one thing out here, because I need to go ahead and find this real quick, because it's odd. It's not odd, but it's very funny. It's very funny that Ted Cruz wants to sit here. Give me 1 second while I pull this up. Ted Cruz wants to sit here and talk about... Ted Cruz wants to sit here and talk about how crazy Marjorie Taylor Greene is for asking for the transparency and release of the Epstein files, so that way we can have a list of the people that committed these horrendous and horrible crimes to young girls, minors, and women. But he's sitting here saying that she's crazy because he wants to protect these names because he's potentially on the list. And I say he's potentially on the list, allegedly, because, gotta be careful, but I say he's allegedly on this list because of these comments that I'm going to show you right now. So we're going to go ahead and pull this up.
Now, Senator Booker also said we should have bipartisan agreement. I think that's a great idea. We should have bipartisan agreement. How about we all come together and say, let's stop murders? How about we all come together and say, let's stop rapes? How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles? How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles? How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles?
Now, hold up. I don't think you can misspeak on that. I just don't think that you can misspeak on that. I don't think the Republicans and the people who are in charge on the right, they are very media trained, and they will put their plans out in public. That way, it's not a surprise. Like, it's there. The words are there. Let's stop attacking PDFs. What do you mean, Ted Cruz? You can't misspeak on that. You just can't. Like, the fact that he misspoke on that, didn't catch himself and adjust it in the moment is very telling. It's saying that we're trying to normalize PDFs. We're trying to normalize touching minor children. That is what Ted Cruz is saying, which is insanity. And the fact that no one in that room watched the clip.
How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles? How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles? I want you to look at what happened when the National Guard went to D.C.
No one in that room flinched at that statement, which makes me think it was a planned statement. No one in that room stopped and said, hold up, Teddy. We need to pause here real quick. You need to realign that statement and say we need to continue holding PDFs accountable for their actions. No one in that room stopped and said, wait, hold up. We need to adjust that statement because that looks bad for you, Teddy. No, because this is their literal agenda. They want to point at every other community being horrible to children, but the ones in charge, the Republicans in charge, are sitting here normalizing PDFs and saying statements like, let's normalize, stop attacking PDFs. And they're going to sit here and be like, everyone else is a problem, but they're not going to adjust their statement in regards to this or say, put out a reparation statement saying this is not what we meant. No, he didn't. He let that sit because this is their motive. This is their trajectory and this is their target. They want to allow the normalization of PDFs. That way they can be free in this country. And yet they're pointing at every other demographic as being PDF friendly. Meanwhile, it's them themselves. And like I always say, when you point your finger, you have 3.5, I guess, right? 3.5. 3 pointing back at you because you're 3 times as guilty. Stop throwing claims and allegations because when you throw them, it just reflects about who you truly are. And who you truly are, Ted Cruz, is what you said in this statement. And I will play it again for everyone to hear, and I will keep it on a loop because we cannot ignore.
Together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles. How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles? How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles?
It's insanity. It's clear and blatant insanity when it comes to these people. And I don't understand. I truly just don't understand how anyone can sit here after that statement, not adjust the statement or put out a fixing statement to control the narrative that Teddy is a PDF and he doesn't want the list, and he's calling Marjorie Taylor Greene crazy about wanting transparency in the release of a client list because he's on the list, because he's literally actively saying in like live cameras that we need to stop attacking PDFs. Disturbing. The timeline is just timelining right now, and it's disturbing. Anyway, more lies, more untruths, just craziness when it comes to this administration. And it's like, when does it end? When does it end? He lies about knowing about Project 2025. He lies about knowing about anything about Ghislaine or Jeffrey Epstein or their client list. He lies about now also his tariffs, because he's literally stating right now that I'll put this Truth Social up on the screen here. Here we go. Just out. Good news for the holiday season. Early prices are down, while tariffs are making our country an economic power again. Also, virtually no inflation, as stock markets continually hit record highs, the best of all worlds for the USA. And this is just such a misleading truth from, isn't that crazy? I think there's so much dichotomy when it comes to this administration. Because now you're saying, instead of saying this post, you're saying this truth when it's not a truth. I just thought about that. That's like the psychological warfare playing in the atmosphere, because it's like, I literally just said this truth. And it's not a truth. Anyway, what's false and misleading and misrepresenting and unsupported about this statement is that the virtually no inflation is false. Inflation is not at zero. Like, there's still inflation going on. As well as, I just want to point out that it is in the ballpark right now of 2.7 to 2.9% year over year as of mid of 2025. So it continues to grow. And then recent monthly inflation from July to August has shown upticks of 0.4% monthly in some categories via PBS. So him literally creating that whole statement of virtually there's no inflation is misleading, and it's basically a lie. And again, he's putting lies out on a platform called Truth Social. What's new for Cheeto? What's new? Anyway, he's saying that early prices are down, which is pretty vague. Like, what do you mean early prices? Early prices on what products? Because everything that is being brought into the United States is being tariffed up their ass right now, and we're going to have to pay for it coming up on this holiday season. So what are you talking about, like, early prices are down? Because what are you comparing it to? As well as the tariffs are making our country an economic powerhouse again. It's a sweeping claim that has virtually no evidence to support it. As well as, I just want to say, he's saying that we have $17 trillion in tariff revenue. Where is that $17 trillion when our government is shut down right now? Why can't you take some of that $17 trillion and afford it into our government house resolution, so that way we can keep the government open and keep people in their jobs in our federal government? Yet this president doesn't care, because he does not care about the American public and the American people. He doesn't care that y'all are about to be fired. He doesn't care he has to pull the Apprentice line, "You're fired," out. He doesn't. This man does not care about the American public, our agencies, our programs, our assistants, our federal workers. He does not care. And he's said it plenty of times that he doesn't just not care about our federal workers. He doesn't care about the American public in general. He doesn't care about fixing the cracks and the disunity that's rampant throughout the United States. He said it on Fox News before. But in regards to this, like, it's just sweeping with selective and superficial omissions, as well as misleading and unsupported information. Once again, Donald Trump sitting here doing what he does best, lying. And I have to stop saying his name. It has to be Cheeto. I keep forgetting. It has to be Cheeto. But yeah, that's going on with Cheeto. See, I almost said it again. So yeah, Cheeto, overall, just, a liar. We know it. We've seen it. But we want to talk about a woman, a fighter, a true patriot, someone I would vote for president anytime before Cheeto. Like, this woman is iconic. So we're going to talk about her. Nicole, oh my God, what happened? No, it logged me out. Why'd you log me out? You can't just log me out. Why'd you log me out? There we go. Cool. We're gonna talk about this woman, a powerhouse in her own right. Nicole McNichols. If you guys don't know this woman, she became a viral sensation on TikTok. There was this video of her in her classroom, and she ended up running outside the classroom and chasing away a SMOTSI sympathizer and a saluter, and I think she's iconic for what she did. This is an associate teaching professor at the University of Washington, and the whole issue transpired, and I saw it on TikTok, and I was just like, this is what it means to be a patriot and speak out against injustices and racism and anti-Semitism and any sort of bigotry. Like, this is what it means. And I got goosebumps when I saw this a little bit, because I was just like, hold up, like, this is what it means to come together and fight this fascist regime that is taking place in the United States. And she is a clear example of what we need to do as an American public to put a stop to what is going on in this country and normalizing smotsy phrases, as well as smotsy salutes, as well as this green suitville that we're in, that we're driving into right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. Look at her. She's an icon. She is the moment. Look at her running. All right, I'm going to pause it here because I don't want to get like copyrighted struck. But I also wanted to point out this comment by Summer. I love her. Don't back down. I want a shirt. I want a shirt of this. Like, this is iconic. So what happened is basically, 1 minute here. So what happened is basically this woman who is a teacher was teaching a class of 300 students. 300 students. And all of a sudden, this, I guess, another student, I don't know if it was another student or some random person. I don't know why random people have access to universities if it was a random person. But whoever it was came into the classroom and started rhetoric about Smotsyville, as well as Smotsy salutes and doing everything of that nature. And some of the students were like, absolutely not. We're not taking this. We're not doing this. Like, we're literally in class right now. And you're sitting here popping into the classroom doing Smotsy salutes. Absolutely not. So 2 of the students got up and chased him out. And then the teacher came right after them and was like, I'm with you guys. Not only did the teacher come out, but then all the rest of the students, the 300 people that she was teaching a class to, followed her. And they chased this dumbass throughout the campus and chased him off the campus. Well, practically off the campus before he got arrested. But look at this. We're going to go ahead and play this real quick because it's iconic. So he ended up getting arrested, but here we go.
What the fuck?
He's getting booed.
Dude, get out!
Look at her. Icon. Say her name, Nicole McNichols.
Oh shit!
And then 300 students followed, surrounded him, basically embarrassed him for his own actions. He got maced.
Oh my god!
And now a lot of people will be like, well, you shouldn't have maced him, blah. No, you're sitting here promoting anti-Semitism and bigotry in the middle of a class. I'm sorry, not only did he deserve that macing, he deserved the public humiliation of being surrounded by those people, the class itself, and then not only being humiliated, but being made to fear for his life. You're not going to sit here and say that this hate speech is okay in the United States. It's never okay for hate speech. It's okay for an opinion, but the hate speech when it comes to smotsy salutes and all of that nature, absolutely not. I think this teacher is iconic for what she did. I think she is a leader in her community, a leader at that school. And I think what she did was very notably just strong as a woman for herself to sit there and say, I'm leading this my class of students to go after this smotsy saluter, this bigot, and we're going to chase him practically off campus, and now he's arrested. I agree. He got maced. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for people who have bigot and hate in their hearts, and that's their whole personality, let alone any part of their personality. He deserved what he got, and he deserved the macing, and he deserved to be arrested and taken off campus for his salutes to bigotry and anti-Semitism. So, congratulations, icon. In the words of Wendy Williams, she is the moment. She is the icon. Miss Nicole McNichols, congratulations. I support you. I think that's so cool what you did. And more people need to stand up like that, especially with the climate of our world right now, where it's being looked at as negative to stand up against bigotry. It looks like bigotry is starting to prevail. It's nice to know that there are people like Nicole McNichols who are actively standing up and leading a group of people in a fight against bigotry and making sure bigotry, in this sense, in this clip, feels unwelcome, unwanted, and not belonging here in the United States. So congratulations, Miss Nicole. I support you. I wanted to go ahead and talk about also Cuomo here. Cuomo. So Cuomo is also in the mayoral race. Last week or a few days ago, The View had the candidate Zohran Mamdani on, and I wasn't too much of a fan of how they treated him. Of course, they're going to treat Cuomo differently. But Cuomo was on, and something caught my eye in regards to what he said. Listen, we're not trying to age shame you, Cuomo, but what we are trying to say is, why are you in this race? Let's watch the clip real quick.
You, why are you losing to a Democratic Socialist?
Yeah, because people don't understand. It is a very good question. And look, in the primary, there were 9 candidates. Nobody really understood who he was and what it means. Even today, it's confusing. He's a Democratic Socialist. I'm a Democrat. Well, what is the difference there? And it is night and day. What's really happening is there's a civil war within the Democratic Party going on. And the Democratic Party is looking for its identity. And there are 2 factions. You have the Democratic Socialists, and then you have the Democrats, right?
And this is the problem, and this is why we did not win the election for 2024 and why Kamala did not win that presidency. There's too much division in the Democratic Party, and Cuomo is sitting here painting that division straight up. He's saying people don't understand. What do you mean people don't understand that in New York City, rent is sky high, higher than it's ever been, pricing out families and communities and gentrifying communities? What do you mean people don't understand that their food prices are high and the policies that have been implemented and the statistics that come out continuously show a rise in food costs, rent, travel, all of these things, and yet you're saying that New Yorkers don't understand? Of course they don't understand. They don't understand why, when you were governor, your policies did not trickle down and affect them positively. And now you're going for a mayor position to serve in office? Why should people vote for you? Not only because your policies did not trickle down and last to actually help New Yorkers, but why should people vote for you when this? Huh? Someone explain it to me. Why should anyone vote for Andrew Cuomo after he sexually harassed 13 women? Tell me. And we know why Donald Trump does not want none other than Zohran Mamdani in that office, in that mayor's office. We know why. And we know why Trump would support someone like Cuomo in that office. Because none other than continuing to fill the swamp of people that are in our government. And like I keep saying, isn't it funny? Isn't it funny? Just humor me. But isn't it funny how everyone around Cheeto continuously proves to be garbage, scum, trash, and grotesque, vile human beings? Just saying, Trump would love for this man to be the mayor of New York City. And we can't let that happen. We cannot let that happen. So we have to continue voicing that Zoran is a top, not only top, but only candidate for change. Because honestly, at this point, what's there to lose? What's there to lose in regards to New York City's pricing, apartment pricing, and rent pricing? Like, what's the difference? Like, what is there to lose right now? We have been continuously on a rise of inflation, a rise of rent increases, a rise of food prices, a rise of transportation prices, a rise of child care in regards to New York City and country-wise in general. So what are we giving up if we just give Zoran a chance to try and fix it? Because he's sitting here not saying that he has a plan to fix it. Cuomo isn't saying that he has a plan to fix anything for New York. He's just saying you guys don't understand. Why don't we understand? Why don't New Yorkers understand? Why doesn't New York City understand why they're like, it just, his comments make no sense. There's no coherence to them. And he's being just dismissive of the actual public in New York City. So what's there to lose for voting for Zoran Mamdani and a Democrat socialist? Zoran specifically said that a Democrat socialist is basically having equality and fairness and affordability as well as access to opportunity for everyone. What is bad about a Democrat socialist? Because right now, what Cuomo is saying is that Democrats in general, the party is not meant for human beings, to actually care about human beings. Democrats, if we have the divide, there's the human side of Democrats as well as the evil, money-grubbing side of Democrats. That's what he's basically saying. And what he said is basically, I'm the evil side of Democrats where we're worried about money and politics versus Zoran where I'm worried about, equality and access to healthcare and access to childcare and access to fair rent prices and access to food prices going down. That's what Cuomo is saying. There's the stark difference. He put a crack in the wall, so let's talk about the crack. He's on that side of evil, and Zoran right now is on the side of let's make things affordable and life easy for all New Yorkers. So that is what's going on with New York. And I continue to keep saying this because it's like everyone around Trump just continuously falls in this nature of being a grotesque, I don't even want to say human being, but reptile. Like, it's just gross. Like, they just sit in a swamp and they marinate in their grossness. It's weird. And I keep saying it. It's just weird that everyone around Cheeto continuously has all these scandals and all these nasty words said about them. And they're not liked by the public. And they have all these scandals revolving around fraud, abuse. I mean, wasn't Doge supposed to take care of that? Oh, right. Doge was another fraud and abuse of the Trump administration. But it's gross. Everyone around this man continues to stink. The stench just follows this whole administration. So I wanted to also talk about Greta Thunberg, okay? His comments on Greta Thunberg is wild to me. I just don't get it. It's weird. So let's go ahead and talk about it. But what else is weird when Cheeto's in?
And a follow-up question on Israel. Israel government has been arresting and deporting activists that were traveling to Gaza. Today, Greta Thunberg, for instance, also some...
Well, she's just a troublemaker, I mean, she's no longer into the environment, now she's into this. She's a troublemaker. She has an anger management problem. I think she should see a doctor. She needs anger. If you ever watch her, she's a young person. She's so angry. She's so crazy. Now you can have her. She's just a troublemaker.
Imagine Imagine our president of the United States sitting here calling someone an activist for human rights a troublemaker, someone who wants to take a boat called the flotilla and get aid and food and medicine to people in Gaza who are suffering a genocide on behalf of President Cheeto's friend from Izzy, Bibi. Are you kidding me? How is that being a troublemaker? The words are clear and decisive when Trump is caught off guard. He does not care about human life. He does not care about dignity and human decency. When he's caught off guard and questions, it is clear that his trajectory and his only objective is, I don't care about Americans and I don't care about humans in general. And this statement says it. How can you call someone a troublemaker and a problem for trying to aid people who are starving and being starved with war crimes committed on them, against them, killings, bombing, starvation of children? How can you sit here and say she's the problem for trying to get aid and food and medicine to these people when you're supporting someone who is causing those war crimes in Izzy and Bibi? Tell me about it. Explain it to me. How is she a problem? No, the only problem is the people in power, and that's you. The fact that you said this statement shows that you are complicit in what is happening in Gaza. The fact that the president of the United States said she is a problem and she has she needs anger management because she has anger issues, because she wants to try and get aid to Gaza, tells everything you need to know about this man. It says he does not care about human life at all. That's all. It's insane to me that people are still supporting this man. It is. Speaking of Bibi here and Izzy, I want to talk about how I feel censored. And I said that earlier on in the podcast because I honestly do feel censored. And it's beginning to get a little bit scary. When I mention certain individuals in certain clips on certain platforms, my views go down. My views get suppressed. And it's scary to think that we're living currently in a world where our freedom of speech is under attack. It's under a place where we are no longer able to speak as freely as we did previously. And I think people conflate and misconstrue the ideas of freedom of speech and cancel culture. Cancel culture isn't about canceling someone because they're speaking. It's about canceling someone and removing the ideas of bigotry, misogyny, hate, racism, anti-Semitism. All of these things that affect people, all of these words and phrases that are rooted in killing and removing rights from people and stripping rights away from people. That is what cancel culture is about. Yeah, we want everyone to have free speech, but when your speech dictates other people's freedoms, when your speech rips apart other people's freedoms and strips them away from them, that's not free speech, that's hate speech. You're allowed to have your opinions, but you're not allowed to tell people how to live. That is the difference between saying a Smotsy sympathizer is being attacked for his speech of sympathizing with Smotsies versus someone who is looking to promote equality for everyone in the United States. Do you not see the dichotomy there, the difference? One is trying to take away rights from people. The other one is trying to gain rights for everyone. That is where hate speech differs from opinion and where this dichotomy exists that cancel culture is canceling people because of their opinions. No, cancel culture cancels people because their opinions are wrong and they look to dehumanize human beings. That's what cancel culture is. Your freedom of speech is not being suppressed. It's just that your views are shitty. Your views are fucking shitty. So I feel like we're in a world right now where a lot of this is being suppressed, and it's scary what Bibi said here, I want to go ahead and play this real quick.
And the most important ones are on social media. And the most important purchase that is going on right now is followers. TikTok. TikTok, number one. And I hope it goes through because it can be consequential. And the other one, what's the other one that's most important? X. Exactly. Very good. And, so we have to talk to Elon. He's not an enemy. He's a friend.
Elon's not an enemy. He's a friend. Elon's not an enemy. He's a friend. So what Bibi is essentially saying in this clip is he wants to control the media. He wants to control social media. He wants to control narratives. He wants to control people's opinions. He wants to control people's speech. How is this man going to be controlling people's speech when he's the leader of Israel? Why would he then get to dictate how we speak in the United States and how we expect, because we have a constitution, the right to freedom of speech. So why is our speech then being suppressed at the behest of someone, of an international leader who is committing war crimes and killing of minor children in Gaza, completely destroying a population, a genocide of a population of Palestinians? Why are we subjected to his view? Why is he saying here, well, we need to control TikTok and X because they're cesspools, and views are ultimately now accessible to demonize us for our war crimes and genocide that we're committing against people? That's what he wants. It's insane. So in general, I just think at this point, we need to be very aware that right now we're in a state in this country where foreign forces are dictating how we speak. And this is why I said Cheeto is compromised. Cheeto is 100% compromised, because why are we allowing Bibi of Izzy sit here and dictate that he needs to purchase TikTok and he needs to purchase X? He needs to talk with Elon Musk because Elon is a friend. And in that talking stage, Elon will be able to be bought for his ideas as well as his suppression of speech in the United States. Talk about it. Talk about it. Explain it. Explain it, Cheeto. Why are we right now in the United States at the behest of other worldly dictators? I want to know. I want to know, because if Bibi has that opportunity to control TikTok and X, he definitely will. He definitely will take that up in a heartbeat. So I want to know why anyone doesn't think we're not compromised as a country with our sitting president, Cheeto. I want to know. This screams compromised. Our government right now screams we are compromised. We are in a position, ass up, face down, for literal world dictators like Russia and Vladimir Putin. We are in a spot where we are ass down, face up for dictators, international dictators. And now our freedom of speech is being suppressed, not only internationally. Our sitting president isn't even defending our Constitution internationally, let alone domestically. So what makes you think that our country is not compromised to outside international dictator forces? Explain it. That's what I want to know. It's just crazy. And when we talk about freedom of speech being suppressed, we have to talk about Project 2025. We have to talk about the people who are in our government currently. And in our government currently is none other than Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller is the White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. And he, in this clip here, we're going to go ahead and play this clip. He calls protesters street terrorists. These are specific words, because protesting is a right under the First Amendment of the United States, to sit there and speak your mind with signs and make sure people hear your voice. And this man sat here and called people street terrorists, people from, I can't say that word, but you see it, the last one, a city in our country, in the state of Oregon, because we get censored now when we say words like P-O-O-G. You get it? So let's take a look at this clip.
That these are terrorists, but in what we've seen thus far, the actual incidents of people inciting violence and not responding to law enforcement attempting to disperse them are not an open rebellion. I mean, again,
where are we?
How many resources we have had to the idea, how many resources we have had to redesignate to deal with these street terrorists?
You explain that. Let me ask the question. Let me ask the question.
So you very vaguely heard it there. It was silent, but he called protesters street terrorists. This is a direct attack. This is a direct attack on our Constitution, our constitutional right to assemble and protest. He called protesters street terrorists. That does not align with our constitutional rights. This man, who is the the deputy chief of policy or whatever, he sat here and said, protesters are street terrorists. Do you not see what the end goal of this country is? The end goal of this administration is to suppress anyone with dissenting opinions, whether it's comedians and media outlets, whether it's protests in the streets from everyday civilized Americans. They don't want anyone to speak if it's a dissenting opinion from this administration. If you don't agree with it, you don't have a voice. This is what this administration is essentially saying by having the deputy chief of policy state, you're street terrorist if you want to talk, if you want to promote and have your freedom of speech. You are a street terrorist if your opinion doesn't align with our opinion. It is the far right version of explaining that freedom of speech is bad. It is the far right version of policy that freedom of speech should be restricted. It is the far right policy that freedom of speech is not a necessary implement when it comes to our United States Constitution, because it doesn't allow for our plans to be implemented for us to then demonize the other side and silence the other side. This is what he meant when he called protesters street terrorists. Let's be very clear about that. It's a direct attack on our First Amendment of the United States Constitution, freedom of speech that protects our freedom to protest government policies and government agencies and government officials, including our president, if we do not agree with what he is doing as president in office. Let's make that very clear. Our freedom of speech and right to protest is protected, not suppressed and ripped apart and ripped away because Stephen Miller calls us street terrorists. That's insane. Insane to me.